Hello, BookTube. Before I reorganize my fiction, poetry, and drama section, I have some poetry books to haul. I recently put in an order with the University of Chicago Press for the month of April to celebrate National Poetry Month. The University of Chicago Press is discounting the poetry that they publish or distribute for other publishers by 40%. So I picked up 4 books for the sale, all of which came out within the last few months. I was thinking about pre-ordering some, but I decided against it. So I have these in alphabetical order. First is the Wyeth Chronicles by Janee J. Baugher. So this collection won the Dorset Prize, whose judge was McCrae. And this is the judge's citation. The first 2 poems of the Wyeth Chronicles so excited me that I had to stop reading, stand up, and leave the room, and cross a few items off my daily list of things to do before I could return to the manuscript. I knew I wouldn't be able to judge the manuscript fairly if I just rode that initial buzz to the end. But as I walked down the hall and then down the stairs, I was thinking about those poems, and in particular about the form in which the poet had chosen to write them. Each poem is a series of numbered notes, some lineated, some written like prose, each note implicitly guiding the reader to more information about a poem's titular painting. The notes brilliantly stitch the act of composition to the page while also holding the poems open. The best lyric poems, after all, are finally irresolvable. They cannot be finished, closed. Via the notes, one sees through the paintings to which they refer and imagines oneself in the position of Andrew Wyeth himself, a step away from the painting he has just made or is making, so that one traces the poet's ekphrasic experience from behind the painting, as it were, rather than in front of it. What a strange, impossible effect. But in the Wyeth Chronicles, it is achieved again and again, and it's an effect I couldn't, it turns out, walk away from. And having done the things I had stood up to do, I climbed the stairs, walked back to my desk, and sat down to the Wyeth Chronicles again, still buzzing, held open. Next is Killing Orpheus by Forster McClatchey. Okay, there's no blurb, so I will select 2 of the 3 blurbs. Every so often, not very often, you read a first collection by a young poet and know you're hearing a voice that will matter to lovers of poetry in 100 years. And I felt that on opening Forster McClatchey's Killing Orpheus. Like Adam before he could name things in this poet's remarkable Adam's Task, I heard world languages of ferns, and am confident they will only keep uncoiling. John Jeremiah Sullivan. We enter an elemental realm in Forster McClatchey's poetry where night reveals the busy moods of love, and the sleeping mind is a zoo of dreams. Romantic things, night, love, the body, dreams, are present with their timeless proportions, often but never obviously in sonnets, always new somehow and surprising and yet familiar, like the work of a young master on his way to becoming an old one. W.H. Auden moved, lived, and had his being in this world. It is a classic country of poetry, and Forster McClatchey is an outstanding new citizen. Mark Jarman, who is the author of Zeno's Eternity. Two Appearances After the Resurrection by Shane McCrae. I will read both of the blurbs on the back. Jesus remained mysterious to the disciples when he drifted briefly among them after his death. Shane McCrae's poems honor mystery by testing appearances. The black man seen from three angles by the artist Toyin Oji Odutola, or light hypnotized from water, or police horses. The dead and the living struggle to commune in these intricately crafted poems, marvels of attunement, holding harmony and dissonance, forgiveness and pain, all in the same lines. The sacred is hard to see here on earth, but McCrae makes it visible. Rosanna Warren, author of Hindsight. Shane McCrae's poems of disquiet dazzle with their tenderness and precision as they explore life outliving life in a landscape of violence and erasure. Autobiography hovers at the edges of these verses, made rigorous by history and art, given clamor by McCrae's unmistakable music. 2 appearances after the resurrection, his marvelous new collection, is mournful and defiant and fierce in every way. Richie Hoffman, author of The Bronze Arms. And finally, Terminal Surreal by Martha Silano. I will select 2 of the 3 blurbs on the back. There has never been a life force quite like the life force that is Martha Silano, a feisty, freckled gal who fancied words like gherkin and scintillate, and no poetry like the poetry that springs from that life force. Live wire lines flood with lifeblood. Images emerge from a voracious mind, with a breathless studiousness and a witness understanding of ecology, the cosmos, and the body. Hers is the poetics of being unabashedly in love with life. In Terminal Surreal, Silano, having received a terminal diagnosis, steps into an astonishingly forthright, exuberant investigation of mortality, its beauty, and its price. I have no doubt these poems will live forever. Diane Seuss, author of Modern Poetry and Frank Sonnets, of which I have both and really enjoy both. What brilliance and what exuberance characterizes Terminal Surreal, Martha Silano's 7th book of poems. Within the first few pages, the poet reveals her diagnosis of ALS. For the rest of the book, she struggles with that bitter sentence, "It is true," but even more, she hurls herself headlong into her love affair with the world. This is a learned book, how much she knows about science, and a funny book, but most of all, it is a brave book. Dying, Martha Silano superbly shows us living. And Fisher Wyeth, author of Paradise is Jagged and co-editor of Attached to the Living World, a new eco-poetry anthology. So, if you're curious as to the publishers, so Terminal Surreal is published by Acre, which is in association with the University of Cincinnati, and so it was distributed by the University of Chicago. Killing Orpheus is published by Carnegie Mellon University Press, so again distributed by University of Chicago Press. The Andrew Wyeth Chronicles is published by Tupelo Press, so distributed by University of Chicago Press. And 2 Appearances After the Resurrection is published by Omnidon, so again another distributed volume. Here we go. Let's get you alphabetized. So that's my book haul. I will be back shortly after I log these into my library catalog and put them with the new books. And then I will be back to do weekly reads. So see you then, BookTube.